Yes, that is true, Buffalo Woman. Um, how do I put it about Filipina? She had posted a picture. Um, her name is Lisa Wolf on my Facebook timeline page, and so the spiral that is represented by Facebook is a Metatronic spiral. I figure y'all know that by now. Yeah, Facebook is not a Christic spiral. Okay, it's a dead machine. It's a dead engine. That's what I call it. It's a dead engine. Another way to put it is called DOA. Remember what DOA is? If you've ever worked in the healthcare environment, ever worked with a paramedic or an ambulance driver or an emergency room, and when we use the different terminology used in the English language or whatever language you want to choose, the founder's language of mathematics, right, which is perfection, which is pure logic, which is pure eternal light, which is absolute the spirit of fire. And she was making a sort of a call out about protecting because apparently she said she's losing cooling fluid. So she's talking about her automobile, right? And so I've done that, but not what she's talking about. So she's referring to a very specific engineering problem or a circuit problem, because it's really a circuit problem, right? When you realize resistors and capacitors on a motherboard and running warp speed and, if you will, a hyper bubble, hyper speed, hyperspace, hyper multidimensional consciousness. Yeah. And so I have a Ford Explorer, which is, I haven't even talked to the guy which is the shop in Palmdale where I dropped it off. But I was using that vehicle to make a number of trips. And if you were to measure it through time, space, multi-dimensions, you would think, if you were to measure it through artificial light intelligence mapping systems, that there's no way that automobile would have lasted as long as it did for the time in which you needed it for, through time and density, plasma waves, consciousness streams on a multidimensional 15D Cathara grid mechanic way. Okay? Which means if you were to measure, like mechanics can do, and say, well, based on looking at the configuration of how that was engineered and put together using holographic codes of mathematics and frequencies of consciousness, that transmission, I give it maybe 400 miles, and then it's going to lose its integrity because it's not going to be able to maintain what it was once aware of, which was running smoothly. So you realize that you might have 400 miles, that's it, and you want to use it for how many miles? Through multidimensional consciousness layers of consciousness streams that are all experiencing what they're experiencing in consciousness, through all those multidimensional layers of what? Codes, fire codes, frequencies, right? Radios, programmable radios. Whoa. I don't think you have a shot at being able to go all the different places that you want to go and be able to get it all done within a given period of time and space vectors that you're navigating through to get all that done based on the condition that transmission is in right now, in that moment, right? So I did a few things and managed to make it happen. And then my bubble finally broke. Breaking bubbles, right? And so that's how I ended up over here, because I was supposed to be here. There's a certain level of precision that's taking place when you're always with the one, when you're non-polarized consciousness. So when you're non-polarized consciousness, the flashing light sequences, you know how that works between eternal living sound and light and artificial light. There is a big torque speed difference, okay, in being able to do things without being interfered with by things that break down at times at which you don't want them to break down, because the work that we're doing is more important, which is real light, which is eternal light, which is eternal love, right? Which means we have override. The override capacity, which is a capacitor, to override something that is artificial without a soul. Yeah. So if you got a soul and you're experiencing what love is, you're the highest law. That's the highest law of conductivity. Conductors, like the conductor of an engine, the conductor of an eternal engine, which is the conductor of an eternal engine of creation, which is the highest level of intelligence. Because I can assure you that when the creative engine is on fire, which is the first spirit of holy fire, is an eternal spirit of fire, which is on fire to create, you ain't ever going to catch up to that engine. That engine is just running way too hot and fast, flashing light. Consciousness that is flashing. Whoa, the first sun, the first sacred sun. You better believe it. We're always with the one. So we honor the highest one, which is the highest code of honor, which is experiencing the one, the first sacred eternal sun, which is absolute pure love that's on fire to do the work that the eternal spirit of fire does, which is purifying. Purifiers. Yeah. Have a great day. I will send you that energy. I know how that works. Yeah, see, you know how time lapse, you know what a time lapse is, right? The metronome, the beat of the drum, the beat of the heart, equatorial plane, the equator, equal unto all. Yeah. Be good to yourselves.